All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, it's a common theme these days among the American right to say that Joe Biden has humiliated the United States on the world stage. Up until this point, I think that some of that was hyperbole. I, of course, supported the Biden withdrawal from Afghanistan. And in terms of deterring Putin, I think it's an open question as to why the invasion happened right now. I establish all of this so that you can take me seriously when I contend that right now, in our relationship with Saudi Arabia, Biden actually is humiliating us on the world stage and diminishing American power. Yesterday was an important day in U.S.-Saudi relations, though it has gone unnoticed by the vast majority of the Western press and willfully ignored by the elites who are in the pocket of the Saudi regime. As we touched on with our previous guest, the Biden administration earlier this month transferred Patriot missiles to Saudi Arabia after an urgent request by the kingdom to supposedly fend off attacks from Houthi Iranian-backed militias. Now, this was done by the administration with zero, I repeat, zero commitment by the Saudis to pump more oil and immediately alleviate prices of gas here in the United States. In fact, per the Wall Street Journal, the decision to transfer the missiles to Saudi Arabia was done with the hope that the transfer would ease the tensions between the two countries after the Emirati government and the Saudi government refused to even speak with President Biden on the phone. So yeah, you got that right. The Saudis are not giving us what we want. They slap our president in the face by refusing to take his phone call and then leak that to the press. And then, how do we respond? We give them exactly what they want, depleting our own supply of Patriot missile systems in the Middle East to transfer to them for their defense. And guess what? It gets even better. The very day that the transfer of the U.S. systems was revealed, guess what these people do? The Saudis say they will, quote, bear no responsibility for the rise in oil prices, blaming the fluctuations in price on attacks by the Houthis. And you know, those are the ones that we just gave them missiles in order to protect against. The announcement stunned energy analysts, as it was seen by a direct attempt by the Saudis to inject uncertainty into the global oil market and to hike the price further, turning the screws on the United States and all of the consumers of gas across the West. At this point, shouldn't we all be asking the question, what exactly is the point of having a client state in the Middle East if they don't do what they ask them to do? The Saudis have for years gotten their cake and eat it too. 15 out of the 19 9/11 hijackers were their citizens, not to mention the leader of Al-Qaeda and the mastermind of the 9/11 terror plot. And you know, the direct ideology through which radical Islam is born. So, despite that, they escaped scrutiny in America due to their relationship with the Biden administration or for the Bush administration. And yet for years, they have increased their demands on the West. With the justification from their defenders here in Washington, they are representing our interests. And because they represent our interests, we're supposed to ignore the fact that literally about a week ago, they held their largest mass execution ever, beheading 81 individuals in an act of religious persecution. Now, I suppose you might be able to say that if they actually did what we wanted them to do, then yeah, we could look the other way at their barbarism, at their funding and their exporting of dangerous and deadly ideologies. But they don't. They don't even ask. They don't even do what we ask them to do. So why should we ignore it? Not only do they not do what we ask, but they are now actively trying to destroy the U.S. economy and hurt the U.S. consumer. And yet, our president begs them like a dog by offering up a treat in exchange for goodwill. That clearly only goes one way. This is perhaps the weakest thing Biden has done yet as president. It is a time instead to play a very different game. You might say, hey, Saudi Arabia is a free country. It can do what it wants. Yeah, you're right. But their threats are hollow. Yeah, they can have a big impact on our domestic economy, but they are a Western client state through and through. 73% of Saudi Arabian arms imports come right here from the good old USA. Second is the United Kingdom at 13%, meaning that the vast majority of their weapons and arms come from the Anglosphere and can be turned off like that. As to their threats of ditching the petrodollar, that's a joke. Saudi can talk a big game when it comes to pricing things from the rial to yuan, but here's what they don't tell you. Saudi Arabia pegs its currency to the US dollar and has since 1986. And as they write in their own propaganda outlets right in front of you, they literally need the dollar to conduct foreign trade transactions because the vast majority of their imports and exports are needed in stable dollars. Right now, 62% of the kingdom's foreign currency reserves are, you guessed it, the United States dollar. Or how about what they actually do with their money? As usual, a lot of it is right here in the United States. The Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is nearly $1 trillion. It includes sizable stakes in video game companies like Electronic Arts or Activision Blizzard, Citibank now, Boeing, Facebook, Disney, Bank of America. You guys get the idea? We are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in cash invested right here in the USA, directly tied to the Saudi kingdom. It can all be cut off like that. What's the rub though? You already know, all that money, that blood money, it's a down payment on the US political elite to ensure that the outcome you see before you is the outcome that occurs, that they can continue to be the most backwards country on the planet Earth and still get preferential treatment. Missile systems, no scrutiny in the West. They have some of the most high-powered lobbyists here in Washington who have worked for years to keep the kingdom away from any real scrutiny. And that is why, just 2 months ago, the US Senate voted 67-30 to reject a bipartisan resolution introduced in the chamber to block arms sales to Saudi Arabia from the Biden administration. Some of you might think this is a hypocritical monologue. Yesterday, I discussed India, why sanctions or public pressure against them would backfire and would hurt the US strategically. Here's the difference between those two countries. India is a great nation. So is China, for that matter. They are civilizations that built themselves up, that have an intellectual and economic base. Saudi Arabia is a desert backwater with a leadership that would literally not exist without the United States. They have no domestic capacity except for pumping oil. And then they tried to purchase their way out of it from our US political system. The time is to come that we recognize them for what they are and to bring them to heel with the immense pressure that we have over them. They have been free riding off the United States for a long time. And if Biden had any backbone whatsoever, we would never let Riyadh ever get away with this. I can assure you they are laughing at us over there, or more specifically on their yachts in the French Riviera, drinking fine wines in violation of their own religion that they impose on their population, and staring at fake Leonardo da Vinci paintings that they paid $500 million for just because they actually can. I think that's really what it drives me crazy. The Leonardo thing is hilarious. I recommend the documentary. Hey guys, we're gonna be totally upfront with you. This is the most perilous time that we have ever operated in.
It is so difficult just to try to sort through the news, but even more importantly, to bring you accurate information as this wave of lockdown and censorship spreads across the nation.
Yeah, look, if you can become a premium subscriber today at breakingpoints.com, you're gonna help us build out a vibrant, independent media ecosystem which is free of mainstream pressure. We can't tell you how important that is at a time like this.
Yep, that's right. Go to breakingpoints.com to subscribe. We love you guys and we appreciate you so much.